Hey now, friends, it is me, Lola, and Dante is here with me. I thought he was going to say something, and he just sat there and just looked. It was so funny. But it's me, Lola, today, and I have something that's on my mind and on my heart, and that I just want to talk about. Like, it's super frustrating to see how some people do relationships, and especially as adults, you think that when you reach a certain age, like relationships will be done a different way because of the experience that we carry. But sometimes the experience that we carry does more damage than good because the experience is bad, it's traumatic, and we don't get help, we don't get healed, and then we don't learn from it. Like, I thank God for relationships that I've had with the best of people, with the worst of people, conflicts that I've had at work, conflicts that I've had at church. I thank God for it because it's helped me to look at situations in a different light, and I use the opportunity as an opportunity. I didn't see it as something that was bad. I was just like, man, I don't like none of this, but let me take what I can from it and use it to just make me a more emotionally intelligent person. I remember, before I get all the way into it, somebody got offended with me over the dumbest thing. Like, this was so long ago. This was probably like 10 years ago. They got offended with me over the dumbest of things, and when they got offended with me, I knew it was because they weren't used to having positive relationships with other women. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is because this person isn't used to having positive women in their lives that are not jealous of them, that's not trying to take anything from them. That's just like, okay, I'm a supportive person, and that's how I'm going to be with everybody. So I'll be that way with you. And they got offended with me over the dumbest thing. And I remember I told them one day, I said, I know that a lot of how you act with me, a lot of how you're treating me is just your hurt talking. It's your hurt with past relationships. And I don't care what you do. I'm going to be here. So whenever you're ready to talk to me, just know I'll be here for you. And that's it.
I love that.
And I know that everybody is not that strong, like emotionally, to deal with people that are dysfunctional and need to like probably go to counseling and get some healing. And sometimes you don't need to put yourself in those situations because it can just be too much when it reaches a certain level. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk more about that. But yeah. But and that was like 10 years ago. So now that I'm older, I'm just like, okay, like, really, these same things I'm seeing in relationships, the same stuff I'm seeing people just getting offended over the dumbest of things. And then the worst part is this: it's not that they got offended, because everybody can get offended. We're all different. We all come from different homes. We're all raised differently. We have different ways of thinking. We have things that happen in our environments that shape us and shift our behavior, our way of thinking, and all of that. So, offense is normal. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
going to get offended. But the part is when you, as an adult, cannot tell another adult that you care about, that you're in a friendship with, that you're in some type of close connection with, you can't tell them that you're offended. That's the problem. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that. That makes me want to like fuss real bad. Go ahead, Dante. That was my opening.
No, I loved it. So, what I thought about as you were talking about this, I've had similar experiences. Shoot, I've had moments like that myself where I'm being told something and I was not ready to accept it. And I
Okay,
think,
you got to explain a little bit more because you went with two different thoughts.
okay. So, I thought about an experience for myself alone where I've been told things that I just either wasn't ready to accept of myself or I,
So you were told by a friend or someone you would
yes,
consider a friend something that you did that offended them.
correct.
Got it. Go ahead.
Thank you. And just as Lola said, so I was told by a friend something that I had done that offended them, and I didn't know. And I didn't know how to react to it, and I did not handle it well at first. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned from that situation is one, that it's okay for someone to let you know, especially someone that you care about, someone that matters to you, to let you know that you've offended them, because they're trying to be vulnerable with you. They're trying to let you know that, hey, what you did really hurt me.
How did you take it when that person came to you? Gigi, I see your comment. I'm going to address that to you. But how do you take it when that person came to you? Because that's another thing. Like if I'm offended by you, Dante, I'm going to tell you that I'm offended at something, and I'm going to let you know what it is. And I probably won't use the word offended. I'll probably say, "Hey, like this happened and it bothered me." Or okay, so back to the beginning of our relationship, we can talk about this.
Yeah.
In the beginning, this was like way before we even got together. This was like when we first met and we're talking. And I think you called me and you said you were gonna call me back. I was talking to you. You were on your way back from seeing your dad.
Oh yeah.
And you said you were gonna call me back, and then you didn't call me back.
Yeah.
And I think I text you, and then like you were just gone. And I was like, hey, when I talked to you, you said you were gonna call me back, and you didn't. I presented it to you like that bothered me.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I said all of that to give an example.
Yes.
Of what it happens when we're offended by our friends or people. We don't necessarily come up to them and say, I'm offended. Correct. We may just reflect on the situation with them, tell them what happened, or say I'm bothered, or say some other feeling that we felt associated with it. And that's normal for us to bring it to our friends, correct. Right? But how did you respond? Not with me, but in other situations where people are coming to you and they're telling you, your friends, that something you did made them feel whatever way, or something that happened in y'all's relationship made them feel whatever way. How did that make you feel?
Ooh. So I'm going to answer that in a two-part, because I'm going to answer that years ago when I was young and didn't really have the level of emotional intelligence that I do now, and then now where I'm a little bit more open to mindset. So at first, years ago, when someone would come to me and say, what you did hurt me, I would kind of internalize it myself and be like, how did I hurt you? I couldn't have possibly hurt you. There's nothing I did to hurt you. And even if I could have even felt that maybe I did something that was a little off or a little wrong, I didn't take it as you could possibly be hurt by this. And that was from my own internal experiences. Like, look, if you hurt me, I roll it off my back. It's okay. I don't even think about it anymore.
Got it. So you projected on them the way you handled hurt in your relationships. Correct. Which hurt in your relationships back then, you let it roll off your back. You didn't expect an acknowledgement. You didn't expect to have to confront it.
Yeah.
Because that's the scary part, having to confront it like, wow, I hurt someone. Or, wow, this person is bothered by me. What they said is kind of delusional, but now I got to deal with this and I really don't want to. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting that you projected on them what you expected and how you manage hurt in your relationships.
Correct.
That's very interesting.
That is interesting.
That's opening up like a can of worms. Okay, I wanted to address a comment that came here. GI Music on YouTube said, they may not be used to verbalizing their emotions. And that is absolutely right. There are so many reasons that people don't communicate in relationships. Gigi just said they may not be used to verbalizing their emotions. Dante just said that in his older relationships, he didn't really like even address hurt. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, that was a thing. Now it's gone. Let me just keep moving. Let me read something to you all that I wrote a moment ago. And this inspired this live, okay? And this rant that I'm on. Truth. I apologize to people when I'm not wrong. I reach out to people that ignore me. I position myself to restore relationships that I didn't breach. Here's why. It's easier for me to do the emotional work for people who won't or can't. They won't or they can't do the emotional work that they need to help the relationship. Either they won't because they're too proud to tell you that they're hurt or offended by something that happened in your relationship, or these people can't because they're emotionally stunted or damaged. Instead of letting people like this walk around offended for years over a miscommunication, lack of communication, or subject themselves to further damage, I'll own it. I don't have to, but in most cases, I do just because it's easier. Apologizing is not going to hurt me, but it may help save them some hurt. And who knows, it may help make their future relationships brighter. So, what do you think about that, Dante?
I think, okay, two things I thought about. For one, I thought that the sheer fact that you will, in this message, the sheer fact that you will go ahead and say, hey, look, you could be hurt by this. I don't even know what the situation was, but I'm sorry. I apologize for, if I've hurt you or anything like that. I just think that that's amazing because I think of all the times that I roll stuff off my back.
Come back up so you can make sure you're talking in the mic.
Oh, thank you. I think of all the times that I roll stuff off my back, but if I had told people, hey, I was a little hurt by that, or I was a little offended, and they had acknowledged what I said and just apologized, I probably would have been so much further emotionally along than I am even now, but especially back then when I didn't have people like that and I didn't say anything. I didn't open my mouth. Yeah. They also didn't acknowledge it.
But here's the cool thing. Even when we don't get what we need in life, like every freaking season is an opportunity for the right people to come. Even if you didn't get something that you needed in childhood and early adolescence and early adulthood and middle adulthood and elder age, wherever you are, every season there's an opportunity for something and someone to come into your life that can help bring you what you need.
Yeah.
And if you allow them, it'll speed up the process.
You're right about that.
Because I've been in situations with people where they're just not committed to learning to communicate. You know what I'm saying? I just pray for them. I just be like, Lord, just help them. You know what I'm saying? Like I was raised differently. I was raised to be vocal. I was raised to express my thoughts. I spent a lot of time alone. And then I had siblings. So you have to learn how to get along with people. And then I went into the workforce and working for a corporate company, you can't just talk to people any kind of way.
Right.
Diversity and inclusion was very important. Representation, like you learn to be professional. You learn how to handle yourself, lead yourself, and then lead others. Like, so I learned. But I say that to tell you, go ahead, babe, you can grab that phone. Even though like you didn't get what you needed at some point, like every season you have an opportunity to get it, because people are going to come into your life and situations are going to happen that will help you get what you need. Sorry, my husband had to step away because my grandmother was calling us on the house phone. Okay, so let me read a few of these comments. Gigi said, yes, I dealt with a young girl who wasn't used to communicating her emotions, and it shocked me how detrimental it was, but she matured since. And you know what? I believe that's why there are people that, first of all of us have deficiencies. All of us are carrying something that makes us weaker. But when we get around other people, there's an opportunity for us to get stronger. It's an opportunity for us to grow. So if you are someone with high emotional intelligence, high communication skills, if you're someone with a greater emotional capacity to carry people and not be offended by them, then do what Gigi did. Gigi said that she dealt with a young girl who wasn't used to communicating her emotions, and said she's matured since. I'm sure that part of that young girl's maturity came from how Gigi handled her, how Gigi was patient with her, how Gigi talked to her and demonstrated to her how relationships work and how it's okay to communicate. Now, I realize that some people don't communicate because they're scared. Some people are truly scared to tell you how they feel. They're scared to tell you that you hurt them. It can be a pride thing and it can be a fear thing. And really, fear is pride. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to get into that because I don't feel like getting super deep today. But they're scared to tell you how they feel. And because they won't tell you how they feel, they'll walk around offended. They'll walk around letting stuff roll off their back. And then now they're projecting this into their everyday life and other relationships, and not blooming in the way that they should be, and it really, really sucks. But Here's something that I've said to you all before on a love talk that I did on Facebook. I did a love talk, and I was talking about relationships with people that you're wanting to partner with romantically. How you have to be honest and tell people how you feel. I didn't go into that a lot today, but today I kind of wrote out some thoughts, and it's just like three little lines, I think. But it here's my notes. It says some people are scared to say how you feel, but saying how you feel is how you test and measure the relationship. So this can be a romantic relationships. I see some more comments. We're going to read them. It can be in a romantic relationship, and even in a friendship. It can be in a work relationship, whatever. Saying how you feel is how you test and measure relationships. So even if you're scared to say how you feel, you've got to learn how to do it, because it's going to be the way that you test that relationship and measure to see if this person can handle your heart. Okay. If this person can handle who you are, if this person can handle the weight that you're going to put on them, you know what I'm saying? And whatever capacity your relationship holds. So you've got to be able to say how you feel. Something that I wrote about on my blog years ago, thesmokingprophet.com, is like just some keys to helping people communicate better. And one thing is, if you are a poor communicator, or if you get too emotionally involved when you're talking to people, and you become too angry, too upset, crying, too passionate, then something that you should do is to write down your thoughts. You should write how you feel, because writing how you feel is going to help you to put language to what you're feeling, so that when you have those conversations, in a sense you've rehearsed them beforehand, and you don't get to exploding emotionally and then the conversation not going anywhere. Okay, why
Yeah,
are you
that's a
looking
good
at me
one.
like that, babe?
No, I'm just thinking about that actual plan is
Hey,
really
Uncle
good
Kenyon, we love you.
because I think
And
that
Aunt Cheryl, please tell everyone we said hello.
yes, Uncle Kane
And thank you for the gifts you sent
said.
us too. I think I said thank you. I can't remember, but I hope I did.
I think you did.
Okay. But go ahead, babe.
Oh yeah. Only thing I was literally going on is I was just reiterating what you just said about having a plan and how you're going to reach out and teach people and that practice because um, it makes me think of a situation I had where I wasn't sure how I was going to approach a situation. So I literally kind of wrote down certain things that I wanted to know and to say and to talk
Talking
about.
points.
Yeah, talking points
Yes,
exactly
like
because I didn't want to get off target. Like I didn't want to let my emotions follow through and go somewhere else. I wanted to keep it on track because you let your emotions go and that
yeah,
conversation will
it can go
go
somewhere else.
crazy.
And that brings me back to something that I see Monica saying. She brings up a good point. So Monica McDowell is on YouTube joining us. She says, I'm sorry, did I say McDown or something? Did I say McDowell?
I think you said
Okay.
McDowell.
Sorry. I was like, wait a minute. Did I just
I
make up a name?
think you said McDowell.
Okay. Monica says, I totally understand you, Lola. I apologize up front as well. However, in some instances, I think this may be stunning the growth of the people who need to apologize or learn to express their opinions. It's a double edged sword,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. So when you're in a relationship with someone that is not communicating well, it does not mean that you lay there and take it,
Correct.
because then you're becoming a doormat and that's not helping them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does that mean? That means that you do need to let them know that, hey, I see some opportunities here that you could possibly enterprise on.
Mm-hmm.
I said enterprise
You
because
did say
I'm so
enterprise.
daggone business company oriented, company culture. Ugh. I don't want to say get it out of me because I need it, but I see some opportunities here that we can work on together, and I'm willing to help you walk them through that. Well, I'm willing to help you walk through them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude.
And even then that goes back to what I said, Monica, earlier about like we have to say how we feel. We have to say how we feel. So just like the person that doesn't communicate well, that doesn't do well emotionally in relationships, may be scared to say how they feel, on the other end, the person on the opposing side cannot be scared to tell this person, like, hey, you kind of suck at this. And I'm telling you this because I love you.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be scared to say that, because that's going to allow them to, one, possibly help make this person grow
Correct.
and help facilitate their growth and emotional development. But then, two, it also lets that person measure the relationship and say, is this person worth me staying in connection with? Are they going to be able to accept that, hey, they do have some room to grow in the area of communication and emotional intelligence, and are they going to be willing to pick that up and work with it and fix it?
Yeah.
Because if they're not, then you may need to pull yourself out the relationship, because how dare you try to carry someone that doesn't want to do,
Doesn't want to try
they
or
don't want to
learn.
do the work.
Yeah.
That's like someone reaching out. Yeah, I do. I usually call you Monica Denise. That's why, because I think, is that how it says on Facebook? Anyways, yeah, it says
Yes,
I
that's what it
am
says on.
Monica Denise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that makes me think about, okay, you got a friend that's reaching out to you, and they're like, hey, let's go out to the club, and let's go out and do this and do that. I'm really sad. I need you to go out with me. And you're like, I cannot go to the club because I have a drinking problem and I'm recovering, and I don't put myself in situations like that because I want to be better. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, oh, please go out with me. You got to. This is what friends do. And you're like, here's the number to my therapist. And they're like, I'm good. They're like, I'm good. Okay. They don't want it, but they want you to go out, and they want you to compromise your growth. Okay. You see? So
Yeah,
that's that one-sided loppiness.
it
Listen,
is.
there's this really good book that I read a long time ago, and I'll probably put the link down here. I'm looking at it on the bookshelf that my husband made me. It's called The People Factor by Van Moody, and it talks about relationships. And that book really, really helped me when it came to like looking at relationships and people in a different way. Listen, okay, so Felicia said Monica is right. And Felicia was talking about Monica being right. Like, in situations where we have people who are underdeveloped emotionally, and we're carrying them, and in carrying them, it doesn't allow them to grow. So then we know the solution to that is we have to use our emotional intelligence, our ability to communicate, and to let our friends know, to let the people that we love and we care about know, like, hey, this is a problem, and I'm willing to walk with you through this. And their response, and not just their response in their words, but their response in their behavior, is going to allow us to test and measure those relationships, and to know if it's worth it for us to walk with those people or to walk away from them.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
good.
I'm saying? What else you got to say? Yeah, I saw Van Moody on um, a TED talk, but this was after that. I saw him on like a Christian broadcast station before that. And then I saw him on a TED talk, and his story about why he wants to help people with financial freedom and power, like impoverished people and stuff, is a really, really good story. Like, it made me want to cry. Like, his story is just so, so good. But, anyways, what else you got?
The only thing I had left was a thought I got when I was reading Monica's comment about people. I was wondering how the people in her life have been responding when she apologizes, and are they reciprocating it in any way? Because I think one of the big things I've learned, and also what you were talking about in measuring people, is how they respond.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I became a little bit more emotionally intelligent, even if someone would tell me they're hurt, I would respond and, like, oh wow, I didn't know I hurt you. I'm here for you. What do you want to talk about it?
Right.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah, because sometimes even if you don't believe you've hurt someone, just the fact that they're hurt can trigger like emotion and compassion and empathy in you. And you're like, wow. But that's because you've grown emotionally.
Yeah,
Something else that growing emotionally does too, it helps you spot dysfunction a lot more.
that's true.
It does. Like, you'd be like, that is dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that we're in a world that wants to normalize everything and make everything normal, but some things are not normal for a reason.
Yeah,
And it's like them behaviors, that stuff right there,
Dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional. I wish y'all could see my face right now. Like dysfunctional, straight up.
I'm smiling at Lola's face because of the look right now.
Yeah, but all in all, let's go back to this. So this is what we can do in relationships where, man, first of all, like, please go to therapy. If you know that you are not strong emotionally, if you know that you project how you feel onto other people and situations and it does not impact your life positively, go to therapy. Go to therapy. It's normal. They're doctors for your mind and for your mental health. There's nothing wrong with therapy. I love counseling.
Me too.
I love it. You want to say anything else or no?
No, I enjoy counseling. I think it's beneficial, and not only that, speaking to a counselor, it gives you someone who's unbiased. Like they know nothing about you. They have no outward opinion of you. They're just literally saying, "Here's what I've gotten from our conversations, and these are the things that maybe we can work on together. And this is how you can become more emotionally intelligent, a better person, and stronger."
Mm-hmm. So if you're struggling, just bite the bullet, go to therapy.
Yeah.
Like, and if you are embarrassed and ashamed, you shouldn't be.
At all.
But if you are, that's your feeling, and just sneak and go. You don't have to tell nobody. You don't have to be as vocal about it, and being an advocate for mental health and all of that. Just sneak and go. Nobody needs to know. That's one side of it. And then the second part of it for all of us is to just say how you feel, because saying how you feel is going to help you to test and measure the relationship, and look for the person's response, not just in what they say to you, but when you're in a relationship and you tell people how you feel, you need to pay attention to their behaviors and what they're actually doing about what you feel. Is there maturity? Is there empathy? Is there concern? Or are they dismissive? Are they minimizing what you've done? Are they victimizing themselves because all of a sudden you said how you felt? And you're like, first of all, this is not about you. Let me tell you something. I was on the phone with somebody a few years ago, and they wanted to have a intimate relationship with me, not romantic, but they wanted to come into my circle. And y'all know how I run my circle like Jesus ran his. If you don't know what I mean, Jesus had his inner circle. James, John, and Peter, they were with him in the garden. They were with him at the transfiguration. So when there was more intimate things taking place in Jesus's life, they were there. Then Jesus had the 12 disciples. I'm sorry, the 12 disciples. I'm thinking about this parable. In the parable of the sower, Jesus spoke to the crowds and his disciples about this parable. And then his disciples asked him what he meant by the parable. Jesus told them, "These secrets are given to you, but not to them," meaning the crowds. So Jesus gave a different set of information and access to his 12 than he did with the masses. So that's how I handle my relationships. I don't give everybody equal access to me. They don't deserve it. So someone wanted to come into my life. And I was like, okay, let me be kind, because I'm very particular. I talk to everybody, but I'm very, very just particular because I'm a caring person. I'm loyal. I give everything. I give everything 1000%. And because of my heart, I cannot everyone have access to me, because everyone is not deserving. I don't give my pearls to pigs. Everyone doesn't deserve access to me. If I did that, then I wouldn't be guarding my heart. They would damage me if I gave everyone access to me. So I'm very particular. I'm very, very slow when it comes to building relationships. I'll talk to you. I'll let you be part of the crowd. I might even let you be part of the 12, but you ain't going to be part of the three. You're not going to get there overnight. That's going to take you a minute for me to see that you can handle that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you what I am. So this person wanted access. I'm like, cool. So I had conversations with this person. I observed some behaviors with this person. I said in my head, this is not going to work because I see how this person is. This person is not someone that comes into a relationship and says, hey, I see that relationships have a kinesthetic power. It's a seesaw type of power where you give, I get, I give, you get, and it goes back and forth. I said, this person just wants to push everything onto me. They want to push themselves onto me. They want me to conform to what they are. I said, and that's not how the world works. So I was like, I know that this is not going to be a good thing. And we ended up having a conversation. And in the conversation, I told them, because I'm a communicator. Okay. That's what I'm on here talking to y'all about. I'm a communicator. I told them, I was like, hey, you know what? In the beginning, I was a lot more lenient with you because I really, really was excited to go on this journey with you. I said, but I have to be honest. Let me explain to you my personality. And I did. And then I said, because of that, I said, I'm not interested in being in a relationship and a friendship with you.
Mm-hmm.
And their immediate response was victimizing themselves. And they put it on them. And I was like, first of all, I just said all of this, me. I said, I didn't even say you.
Correct.
Because I know how to have conversations when it's a situation that could go left, and I'm not going to say you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put everything on me.
Yep.
I'm going to carry the burden in the conversation because I don't want a conflict. Okay?
Yeah.
And they put it all on them. They victimized themselves. And you know what I did? I said, at this point, I'm going to have to disconnect the call. Okay, I didn't say it like that. I was just like, okay, I see what you're saying. And I respect the fact that you're able to communicate and tell me how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm telling you, I didn't even say but, because but would have turned the conversation another way. I said, what I am telling you is this is who I am. And because of this, this will not work.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, and you take care. And that was it. I got off the phone. I didn't go back and forth. I didn't keep talking about it.
Correct.
And that was the end of that.
That is.
But sometimes you will find that when you say how you feel, people will dismiss what you're saying.
Yeah.
They'll minimize what you're saying, and they'll victimize themselves. They'll internalize the conversation
Mm-hmm.
and feel attacked. And when they do that, that's a red flag for you.
Definitely.
That's a red flag. It doesn't automatically say, I need to end the relationship, but it says, I need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I need to slow down, and we need to figure out what's happening and how we can move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
What you got to say?
I honestly think that you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. That response to how you're talking about, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. People minimizing, victimizing, and being dismissive. It
Red
makes you
flags.
reassess some things. Like, hold on, what am I doing right here? What's happening right now? Because if you can't take my feelings and what I'm trying to tell you, and take it for the genuine, I'm being vulnerable, I need you just to understand how I feel. If you're minimizing that, if you're hurting me, then we either have to have another conversation about this, or I have to reassess what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, you hit the nail on the head on that, Lola.
Yeah. So let's just kind of recap what we've gone over so far. This is a relationship rant, and it's really a frustration that I have when I find that people are just, a lot of people are really emotionally unintelligent, and we don't have basic communication skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about like kids
Yeah.
and Gen Z, and I'm thinking about like, man, they are going to have a really hard time because they interacting with people online is different than interacting with people in person. It's different than handling conflict in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than problem solving in person.
Mm-hmm.
All of these skills that we need to learn to be more adept emotionally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we don't get that, it's bad. Just like when the kids were at home with us all last year, like you know, I got while they were home, but the truth is, like, they needed to get back in school because there's stuff that they're learning from interacting with their peers
Correct.
that they're not getting when they're sitting at home on a computer. So I really, really, man, I worry about what the world will look like when we're really old.
Good point.
And you have people with poor communication skills that are now leading the country and in power. But that's a whole nother thing. I be praying about stuff. My mind goes so far into the future. I'm like, Jesus, I'm worried about me at 70 years old. What is it going to look like? I'm not playing.
I know.
I'm not playing. I intentionally make our family interact.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, no, we're gonna all get in the car together and just sit up in the car and ride somewhere. And my husband will be like, y'all don't need to go. And I'm like, no, this is intentional so that we can learn to have some conflict in this car. And they like, get off of my side. Get off of me. Can you roll the window down? Can you change to another song? And it's like, no, we need to learn how to interact. It's intentional.
I know.
So I'm serious when I say that. But anyways, let's get back into this. Dr. Ashley and Evans is on here. She says, "Yep, soft skills are so important." Sarah Mia says, "Hi, Sarah Mia." Okay, so let's look up here at Monica McDowell's contribution to the conversation, and then I'm going to go back and recap what we've talked about so far. So Monica McDowell from YouTube says, "Sometimes people acknowledge their issues and apologize. There are some folks who won't acknowledge any wrongdoing due to pride, not willing to see themselves and grow, or narcissistic behavior." Right. And when you see that some people are not willing to budge and compromise, because that's what relationship is, it's a seesaw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a seesaw. But when you see that they're not willing to budge, it's like, hey, am I really in the right place? Or do I need to reevaluate where I am?
Yep.
Like, all of these are red flags, not necessarily a red flag saying stop, but red flag saying, hold on, slow down, evaluate, assess.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, yeah, put this in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let me just recap this conversation. My rant started with me just realizing people are not as emotionally intelligent as we need to be, and communication skills are subpar. And I'm like, these are adults. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. I really don't understand it, because some people will cut you off instead of salvaging a friendship or a connection. And it's like, you emotionally invested in that. We're too old for that.
Yes.
Seriously, we're too old for that. I'm too old for that. I don't want to talk to you for a few years and then you get mad at me over something. And now that emotional investment that I put there is done. No, I could see if it was like 2 weeks, like in the beginning, with you and me, and you did something. I was like, nah, I don't have enough of an emotional investment to stick here and see if it's anything that I'm interested in. But once you make that emotional investment, it's like, why are you throwing it away? Emotional investments, that's valuable.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? That's valuable. So that's where the rant started from. Diane says, great combo, too many interruptions on my end, we'll catch the replay. But anyways, thank you for your contribution, Diane. But back to this, didn't mean to say anyways like that. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. So that's where the rant started. And then the rant went to, for people that have higher emotional intelligence and capacity in that area, like, sometimes we have to be the bridge to get people from where they are to where they need to be. I remember at work, somebody invited me to a church event, y'all. This was so long ago. They invited me to a church event. And I was like, oh, I don't really do stuff like that. And I just went on about my business. And the Lord was like, they're offended by what you said. You need to apologize. I was like, I ain't apologizing. I didn't say anything. I said, I'm not apologizing. And then I think I ended up going back to him like a week or two later because it just wouldn't leave me. And I apologized. And guess what they told me?
What?
They were offended. And I said, I did not mean it like that. Yeah. I said, I was just saying I didn't really go out a lot. Like, I like to be at home. That's all I meant. But I said it the wrong way. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, let me be clear when I'm communicating to people. Let me work on that. But the Lord told me that I had offended them. And I was like, I ain't apologizing. He was like, go apologize. And I was like, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But I bet you the times after that where he told me to go apologize, I remember I was in a meeting one day and someone said something. I said, thank you. And then I went on and I was dismissive, not because I didn't value what they were saying, but because my mind was on something else. Kind of like when I just made that comment, like, well, anyways, it's not that I didn't value that. It's just that my mind was on something else and I was trying to get back to my thought. But after the meeting was over, the Lord was like, you need to apologize. And I was like, okay, I'll go and apologize. And I wouldn't apologize immediately. I learned by that point.
Yeah.
From the first time for me saying I ain't apologizing. So now it's pretty easy to apologize to people when I'm not wrong. And if you're someone who has a greater emotional capacity in your heart, you can communicate pretty well and you're not easily offended by people, then you can be a bridge for people to get from where they are emotionally to where they need to be. And if you're someone who is stunted emotionally, is scared to tell people how you feel, then one, therapy is a great tool to help you become the person that you were born to be. You know what I'm saying? It'll help you to shave off how your environment has shaped you so you can just get back to the purest form of you, so that you're not walking around projecting hurts that you experience onto other people, and people are like, wait a minute, I just want to love you. Like when I got called a racist one day, that thing blew my mind because I'm like, that is dumb for me to be that. I care about people. And I believe that everybody, I don't care what you believe, you deserve to be treated with respect, value. You deserve to be represented. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that just blew my mind. But that person projected onto me their experience. So if you're someone that is underdeveloped emotionally, go to therapy. They can help you shave that stuff off and then be willing to communicate and tell people how you feel. And that's for all of us. Communicate and say how you feel. One, it's going to help you measure the relationship. It's going to help you see if the relationship is worth the investment that you're willing to give to it. You tell somebody how you feel, if they begin to express empathy, concern, if they respond to you in a mature way, then that's a green flag. If that person is dismissive, if they minimize you, if they victimize themselves, if they feel attacked by what you're saying, if they're attacked by your feelings, that is a red flag. It's like, wait, hold up. These are my feelings. I can have them. I don't care how wrong they are. They're mine.
Correct.
I'm entitled to have them. Right or wrong?
No, right. Completely right.
So if they begin to feel attacked by your feelings, this is a red flag. And it does not mean that you necessarily need to end the relationship. It just means you need to slow down, see where things are, assess, and make some changes. You know what I'm saying? And then possibly say, you know what? I'm not going to be able to keep going in this relationship and end it. You got anything else to say, babe?
No, I got nothing actually.
How do you feel about the talk?
I enjoyed it. I enjoy conversations about just learning things, perspective. Emotional intelligence is good because even if I'm better than I used to be, it's still a reminder of who I used to be and my emotional intelligence at that level. So it's just good to have these conversations, and I think that people listening also can think about that too. Like, I have grown so much since when I was younger or when I did not have the level of intelligence I have now.
Therapy will help you grow. The right relationships will help you grow. Like I said earlier, like if you miss out on something in life, it does not matter. Every season, there is a chance for you to gain something that you needed to get. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or something that you'll need for the future, which is emotional intelligence. Like, people will come into your life and sometimes you'll feel like these people are agitating me. These people are pushing me and just demanding too much from me. And you have to step back and say, wait, wait. Is this demand for something great that I need to have? And then sometimes you'll see that it is. Even when I get around people that I know are terrible communicators, I'm like, this is an opportunity for me to exercise a new level of patience,
Mm-hmm.
a new level of understanding. This is a chance for me to stretch my communication skills, which is something you all need to know. Like, when you're always talking to the same people over and over again, you start talking in something that I call lazy speech. That's not what it's really called, but I call it lazy speech. It's because the people that you're always talking to in your circle, they know what you're saying without you fully having to communicate.
Correct.
So it is good for you to put yourselves in situations where you have to talk to people that are not like you, because it stretches your communication skills, and that helps make you a better communicator too. And then the other tip that I gave earlier for people that are scared to say how they feel and just maybe blowing up emotionally, like with anger or just getting super sad when they're talking that kind of stuff, write down how you feel first. Write it down. And in a sense, you writing down how you feel helps you rehearse conversations before you have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And then in situations where you're bringing up something super important, or maybe it's a conflict, have some talking points and try to stay on target. Okay, so let's see what Takiri said. Takiri said, using the Jesus circle example, I've learned that sometimes we place people in our 3 when they should be in our 12. And now, after we emotionally invested in that relationship for years, we feel an obligation to keep them in the 3. That's a good conversation to have, Takiri. Wrongly placing people we're in a relationship with. So we feel obligated to keep them in the place that we put them when they don't belong there. I understand. That would be a good topic to talk about. And what I would do at the end of that conversation, I would probably want to know, like, how you got over that. Like, so the way you're speaking about it is like you've been in this situation. So how did you get out of it? After you emotionally invest in someone, how do you sever that tie? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question.
That's a good thing for you to talk about. I look forward to hearing that conversation. Let me know when you do it. And that, man, so that would be good for friendships and then good for relationships. By the way, I would love to see more content about adult friendships and that kind of stuff. If anyone is making any type of content about that, let me know. Also, like relationship content too. I don't always have time to produce content or go and find it and pull people in. So if anyone's on here that has a perspective that you feel like you can offer the Smoking Profits audience, then let me know. We do look for blogs, and blog content is something that we do. So if you're interested in writing non-paid, if you're interested in writing and contributing to a conversation on the smokingprofit.com, then let me know. Yeah, let me know. Okay, listen, I got to get off of here. I got some writing to do, and that's it. I did my rant. I said what I had to say. Why are you looking at me and smiling?
Nothing. I'm listening. Go ahead.
You
Finish it up.
smell good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You smell good too.
Thank you. You're so sweet. Okay, listen, I'm Lola with the Smoking Profit.
And I'm Dante.
You've been listening to a super special, spontaneous broadcast about relationships. Yep, I just had a relationship rant. Thanks for tuning in. Listen, the Smoking Profit is a life advice brand designed to resource you spiritually, creatively, and socially. Our goal is to give you what it takes others years to get. We do that through a blog, thesmokingprofit.com, and also through a podcast, the Smoking Profit Podcast, which is available wherever you listen to podcasts. We have over 100 episodes. Yes. So go and find us, follow us, subscribe to us, and share us. We super appreciate you for tuning in. Until next time, have the most amazing life. Bye.